Oh, nothing's more important than keeping my delicate hands in shape. And as part of that, bar tape is very important for your road bike. So today, I'm going to review the Silca, let's see if I get this right, NASTRO CUSCINO 2.5. Apparently, it's a German magazine test winner as the world's most comfortable bar tape. I'm not necessarily sure about that, but stick around and I'm going to give you my honest opinion on this.
I believe this bar tape sits upper mid-end of the costs of its equivalents, and you can get it for around 70 Canadian off of Amazon or 50 US Freedom Bucks. You can also get, I'm looking at the 2.5 here, you can also get some thinner bar tape, but I did thin about 35 years ago, trust me, or some thicker stuff at 3.75, maybe for gravel. This bar tape has a crash replacement. I'm going to make a point though, it's probably the safest warranty ever to provide on a product, because if you're in a crash that ends up messing up your bar tape, probably the least of your concerns is your bar tape.
This silica bar tape is insanely heavy and I hope quite comfortable, but this is pure genius. It goes right here to cover the brake shifter lever clamps. I don't have an extra shifter, so you get green duct tape. Usually when you're wrapping tape, you'll end up with an extra piece of tape in the box, which you put over the band clamp. Then when you're wrapping it, you hope to goodness that stays. Invariably, it falls off. Silca has solved that problem with this really sticky, similar to the bar tape cover right here. I actually had to trim this when I put it on. Makes them absolutely industry leading and reduces a huge point of frustration when wrapping tape. The supplied bar plugs are fantastic. They're aluminum with a plastic expander, and I've had no issues with them, and they really cover up the ends quite well. Of course, I've talked about this ad nauseum, but what the main feature of it is the fact is you don't have to have excessive wraps to get coverage of these clamps. Therefore, there's no bulges around your brake hoods when you're riding back on the bars. I'm pretty sure this is the first time I've ever used the finishing tape that has been provided by the manufacturer. And even here I've got a little excess cable going through because I haven't gone fully integrated, and this just works really well. Of course, what it does is you don't have to use these either rubber tape or electric tape, or if you're a YouTube influencer, the blue electric tape that maybe your hairdresser had something to do with.
Snapped this screenshot off of some famous YouTuber's light carbon review. Yeah, I think the picture speaks for itself.
For many manufacturers, I believe that the finishing kit for their bar tape is an afterthought. Clearly, Silca has done a great deal of thinking about this finishing kit, and it's why I enjoyed installing this bar tape so much. I have approximately 500 kilometers on this tape with exactly no problems, either with gloves or without gloves, on rides of up to 3.5 hours on relatively bumpy roads. Now, I'm not saying it's the most cushy tape I've ever used, but I think a lot of people get this wrong when they look for the newest, latest, greatest product. If you can go on your maximum ride and a comfort point does not bother you, either bar tape, saddle, pedal, shoes, etc., don't replace them. You're asking for trouble. Probably one of the reasons I'm a little chunky is the fact that I don't ride in the rain. But I can assure you that it is a little slippery when it gets wet. But if you have gloves on, I don't think it'll be an issue. In my opinion, well worth it, but not exactly what a weight weenie wants to see when they put something on a scale. Of course, you're going to cut a little bit of this off. So in my case, I think I ended up with everything installed on the wind space I have videos on at about 90 grams. Silca, what can I say? You've hit it out of the park. This reminds me of a Chad Kroeger, Avril Lavigne duet. Just fantastic. So with that, if you like my content, feel free to like, subscribe, or put a comment down below if you got a question for me. And with that, ride hard.